I went to bed on time, set the alarm carefully, and when the sun was already high outside, I realized the clock slept better than I did that night. I sat up in bed, rubbed my eyes, and checked the clock again, hoping it was just my mistake. The hands were still, quiet as a stone. I have learned over the years that when something simple fails, there is usually a simple reason behind it. Before blaming the clock, I decided to slow down, take it apart, and see what that little battery was trying to tell me. First, I open the back of the clock and take the old battery out. I always keep a fresh battery nearby, so I drop the new one in and close the cover just enough to test it. Right away, the clock starts ticking again. The hands move smooth and steady, which tells me the clock itself is fine. Now I want to be sure, so I take my meter and check the new battery. It shows good voltage, exactly what you expect from a healthy battery. That confirms the test. The clock works, and the new battery works. Next, I check the old battery that came out of the clock. I place the probes on the positive and negative ends and watch the meter. The needle does not move, or it barely moves at all. That battery is clearly dead. This step matters more than people think. By testing both batteries, you know where the problem really is. You are not guessing, and you are not replacing parts that do not need it. The clock did not fail. The battery did its job for years and finally gave up. And that old battery is exactly what we are going to work on next. Let me know your state in the comments. It's always great to see how many DIY folks are out there. Now that we know the old battery is completely dead, it is time to wake it up gently. I take a clear glass cup so I can see what is happening inside. I pour in enough clean water to fully cover the battery. Then I add a spoon of regular table salt and stir it until the water turns slightly cloudy. This simple saltwater mix is easy to make and works well for this step. Next, I take an old spark plug. It does not need to be new or clean, just bare metal exposed. I place the old battery into the salt water and lower the spark plug into the cup as well. Make sure the battery and the spark plug are both in the water. I set the cup on the bench and let it sit for a few minutes. You do not rush this. During this time, the salt water helps clean the battery terminals at a very basic level and encourages a small chemical reaction inside the battery. You might see tiny bubbles forming. That is normal and tells you something is happening. While it sits, I always remind myself to keep things simple and safe. Do this in a well-ventilated area and keep it away from kids or pets. No fancy tools here, just patience. After a few minutes, I lift the battery out of the water and place it on a paper towel. I shake off the excess water and wipe it dry. At this point, the battery does not look special, but this soaking step prepares it for the next stage. This is where the real improvement starts to happen. After taking the battery out of the salt water, the first thing you do is dry it completely. I wipe it with a clean paper towel and make sure there is no moisture left around the ends. This step matters because water can hide problems and affect your test later. Now I take a small piece of sandpaper, nothing fancy, just a medium grit. I lightly rub the positive and negative terminals of the battery. You are not trying to grind it down. You are only removing oxidation and buildup that block good contact. As you sand, you will see the metal start to look brighter. That is exactly what you want. Once the surface looks clean, I spray a little WD-40 onto a cloth, not directly onto the battery. Then I wipe each terminal carefully. The WD-40 helps lift fine residue and leaves the metal clean and protected. I give each end a final wipe with a dry part of the cloth so there is no excess oil. At this point, I always stop and look closely. The terminals should look shiny and smooth, not dull or crusty. This simple cleaning step often makes a bigger difference than people expect. You do not need special tools or experience for this. Just take your time, keep it neat, and focus on good contact. A clean terminal gives the battery its best chance to come back to life. Now it is time to see if your work paid off. I take the multimeter and check the battery one more time. I touch the probes to the positive and negative ends and watch the needle or numbers. This time, the reading comes up. It may not be perfect, but it shows the battery has power again, and that is what we want. You took something that looked useless and made it work again. That quiet ticking is proof that patience and careful work still matter. With the clock battery working again, I do not stop there. Old habits die hard. And once you see one battery come back to life, you start looking at the others differently. So now I want to show you a second idea using an old AA battery that most people would throw away without a second thought. I take a used AA battery and a spark plug I had lying around in the shop. This part is about reusing what you already have. I carefully open the battery and remove the carbon rod inside. That rod is still useful if you treat it right. I wipe it clean and set it aside. Next, I prepare the spark plug by removing the top so I can use the ceramic body as an insulator. This simple setup is the start of a homemade tool that may surprise you. Nothing fancy here, just patience, steady hands, and parts you already recognize. Now I finish the homemade soldering iron using the spark plug body. I take the red and white wires with alligator clips already attached. I strip the end of the red wire and feed it carefully into the ceramic center of the spark plug. That ceramic keeps the wire insulated and safe. Next, I slide the sharpened carbon rod into the spark plug so it sits firmly inside. I make sure the carbon touches the red wire inside. That contact is what will carry the power. I use electrical tape to wrap the wire neatly along the spark plug body so nothing moves or pulls loose. Then I connect the white wire to the metal body of the spark plug. This becomes the ground. I check that both wires are tight and separated. When everything feels solid, the tool is ready. Simple parts, clear connections. And now this old spark plug has a new job to do. Now I power the homemade soldering iron using the drill battery. I place the battery on the bench so it cannot move. I insert 2 metal washers into the positive and negative terminals to make solid contact points. Next, I clip the red alligator clip to the positive side and the white clip to the negative side. I double check the connections so they are correct and not touching each other. When I gently touch the carbon tip to the negative clip, you see a small spark. That tells you current is flowing and the tip is heating up. I do this only for a short moment. This step shows the tool is alive and ready to work. Now I place the 2 razor blades flat against each other on a stable surface. I make sure they are clean and lined up straight so the joint will be strong. I bring in the homemade soldering iron and let the carbon tip heat for a moment. Then I gently touch the tip to the seam where the 2 blades meet. I move slowly and keep steady pressure. You can see the metal bond as the heat does its work. After a few seconds, I pull the tip away and let the blades cool. Once they cool down, the 2 razor blades are firmly joined, clean, and solid. At the end of this little project, the alarm clock is running again. The old battery has power, and that simple homemade soldering tip actually works. Nothing fancy, no expensive tools, just patience and a few things you already have at home. This is the kind of repair that saves money and keeps useful items out of the trash. It also reminds you that fixing things is still worth your time. If this video helped you, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still enjoys old school DIY and smart home fixes.